How's it going, everyone? Vince here with the On to the Next podcast. This is episode 24. It's going to be a solo episode, and I'm excited about this one. I'm excited about things to come, man. I'm a week late and a day of airing an episode, but guys, had some stuff going on. We all have things going on in our lives, but is it helping you with your forward? Is it helping you with your on to the next? And we're going to kind of talk about that. Guys, I can't wait for you to listen to this one. This is On to the Next.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging it.
All right, everybody. How is everybody doing? You know what, guys? It's been good. It's actually been a roller coaster of a couple of weeks. Been super busy with a few things, and I want to get into how we go about our life and how we focus on. Sometimes we focus on too many things, and is it good to focus on one thing? There's a lot of things, and there's been a lot of things, and I want to get into that. But you know what, guys? I'm so happy to be back on the podcast. This episode 24, and I'm almost getting to that quarter century mark. And guys, I have so many great guests coming up. I have so many that are I guess that I've already had commit to the podcast, and I can't wait to get to these people because a lot of great stories. And I've always said that this podcast, it's not about me. I'm just a regular guy trying to get the word out of so many great people, so many great stories that I've come across in my life. And that's what this podcast is all about, getting across the great stories and great people that I've encountered in my life, and that I know they are doing amazing things at this point in their life. And I see them doing even more incredible journeys and taking incredible journeys and things to the next level in their life. That's why I've had a lot of these people on my show, on this podcast, because that's what it's all about. It's not about me. I just happen to capture a lot of great stories with a lot of great people. And speaking of average, I am just a regular guy. I'm just a guy who, just a less than, it's almost been a year, guys. I recently retired from my, I guess it was my corporate job, and I was in transportation. At one point I was driving, at one point I was managing and handling logistics and doing different parts in the transportation industry. And you know what? I don't regret that time in my life, because at the time it was a time of focus, of me focusing on providing for my family. And I was able to do a lot of great things. My wife, she was able to stay home with my kids, and it was such a blessing for me and my family. And and I'm going to talk about how we focus on one thing. And when I was younger, I was like, man, music was my life. I used to love music, and when I came out of high school, I was with the music group God's New Creation, and and I thought that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. Music was the rest of my life, and that was my focus. And at that point, I was so dialed in that it was taking me to places that I never thought I was gonna, where I wasn't gonna be, until I was 18. I believe it was 18 years old. I never boarded an airplane and went to another city via airplane. And going with my music group, it took me on that first trip on my airplane, I remember, out to California, and it was like I was amazed. I'm like, man, I'm starting to do things that I never thought I was going to be able to do. And it sounds like really simple, because I think, my kids were on an airplane when my daughter, I think, was 6 months old. So I'm like, things that I'll never take for granted. My first airplane ride, I'll never take that for granted because it was a moment in my life where music was everything, and it was taking me to places like I said, boarding an airplane for the first time, going to California, going traveling the country, and doing things I never thought I would be able to do, and things that I just didn't take for granted. But I was able to, and I really believe this. At that time, I was able to do that particular thing, and I was able to do those things because I was so focused on for one, my ministry. It was a ministry and music. I was so dialed in, and the guys I was with, Joe and Carlos, were also very dialed in to what we were doing, that we were able to accomplish a lot of things. And you know, it was until later on we all started doing a little bit of everything else. And I do see that in a lot of music groups. They start to focus little ways here, little ways there. And you know, I kind of pulled up a few different quotes about, how staying focused, um, and focusing on one thing at a time. And one of the things it said, and it's a quote by David Allen, and it says, "You can do anything, but not everything." And that was very true in that time. And I tell you what, guys, when I got into the transportation industry, my focus at that time was just providing for my family. And that's why I will always respect a hardworking person, a person who gets up every single day to do their job. There's been a lot of people on the internet, and it pisses me off, guys, when I hear a lot of people say the working man is the sucker. These 9 to 5 job workers are the people who will never go anywhere in their life, because those people, I believe, it takes a lot of courage. It takes um, a lot of focus to get up to do those things, because a lot of these people are focused on one thing. I'm focused on providing for my family, and this is how I'm going to get to that goal. And for me, when I started working in the transportation industry, that was my goal. I was solely focused on providing for my family. And you know what? It was accomplished because I felt at that time I was doing something that and that's why I never regret it. I never regret getting out of, um, in sense, getting out of the music industry, because I was still doing a lot of music production for other people, and still doing a lot of great things that I'm very proud of to this day. But at that time when I chose, like, man, I want to, my focus now needs to provide for my family, because I could have kept going, and who knows, I could have been the next producer to do something, to write the next stream of hit songs. But yes, it was a risk, and yes, there was a lot of variables, and I felt like at that time my focus was, like I said, providing for my family, and I had an opportunity, and so I took it that way. And you know what, guys? I am a risk taker. I'm a person that wants to. I want to achieve. I want to accomplish something, and I want something to be attainable. And at that time, providing for my family, getting a house, doing things that I really thought at the time was best for my family. My 2 kids were born, and I really felt dialed in. And I really feel like at that time it was the best thing for me and my family. And I know there's a lot of people out there who feel that way. Man, I gave up everything to do this, but not looking at the fact that, man, my kids are able to do this, my family is able to do this. I'm able to help out so and so because I'm providing right now. And man, to me it was a blessing to be able to do. And I was 20 years in that industry, and I am so thankful for it. I met a lot of great people during that time, and I felt really blessed about it. And you know, I always think about some of these quotes, and Alexander Graham Bell said, "Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work in hand. The sun rays do not burn until brought to a focus." And I think when we have those moments where we're fully focused in what we're doing, like the light finally opens up. And for me at that time, my world was my family. And trust me, my world is my family still. But that was my whole focus, to provide for my family. Set aside the selfish wants and desires of what I really wanted to do. And but I'm gonna be honest, guys. My wants and my needs were aligned at that time, because like I said, my focus was to let my wife stay home with my kids, and let be the best father, working father that I could be. Somebody to make my parents proud, to make her parents proud, to make me proud of knowing that I'm doing my job at that time. And it was really great. And I am going somewhere with this, guys, so be patient with me. So as time went on, I really felt like my kids are now graduated from high school. My daughter just graduated from high school. She's entering college. My son's in college, has a great starting a great career, and now I'm like, now it's time to start focusing on some of the things that I really wanted to accomplish. And the crazy thing is right now, I feel like I still love music so much. I love playing music. I love being a part of, even whether it be at church. I love being a part of worship. I love being a part of an ensemble of vocalists that really, when you hear it, me and my brother-in-law were talking earlier, and when you hear something in music, it makes you want to cry. It makes you, the influence of music just takes you to another area, another place. And we're talking how music will move you in that way, and that's why I love music so much, where it can take you and how it can make you feel. And so that's why I was so like dialed in at that time, and I still feel so passionate about music, but it's just in a different way right now. And now what my my wants and desires is still a focus on me and my family, and where I'm going to take things with my family. And I don't want to make this about me. I want to make this about how we look at when we're doing something. And I originally said that, um, you know, with this podcast, my goal was to do every single week for 52 weeks. And man, I get to the 24th week, and you know what, guys? I'm having to focus on something else. And there's another quote by one of my favorite influences growing up, and influences in the way of like the way he thought. Bruce Lee once said, "The successful warrior is the average man who with laser like focus. The successful warrior is the average man with laser like focus." So what this last week or so, I've had to have laser focus in the career and the path that I'm taking, in my pursuit of being an entrepreneur and what I'm doing. And this last week and a day has been needing that focus. So guys, I you know this podcast is so important to me. You don't know how much I appreciate the subscribers who have subscribed. I appreciate you guys so much because it means that I'm doing something right. It seems sometimes slowly, but when I see a lot of people starting to watch and react and commentate on what I've been doing, man, it it makes me so happy to know that I'm not doing this for nothing and that there is purpose behind it. And trust me guys, there is so much purpose behind this podcast, and it's such a passion of mine, and that's why I'm continuing to do it. But last week, where I'm at, that area of my life needed laser focus. And so I was like, man, I was so torn about missing a week. And the fact is I actually didn't miss a week. I had a really good friend of mine who I'm going to end up re-recording. We had some audio issues, and George Garcia, if you're listening, we're going to re-record and do a great episode because the content of his episode is really good. It talks about his journey and some of the things that he dealt with and where he is now. And it talks about just being that average man, and being able to do things with laser focus. And he's in a period of his life right now where he's really focusing on something, and I believe he's going to be doing great things. So George, I can't wait for his episode to air because it was a lot of good content within his episode, but we just had some audio issues that I'm just getting to a point where I want to make sure that this is actually quality in every way also. So guys, I in saying that, I'm not making excuses, but I want to make sure that this is this is done right for every subscriber out there, everybody who's going to tune in and hit the play button on this podcast. So guys, there has to be laser focus in what I'm doing. So guys, I so last week, so I'm like really focused in on what I really need to do. And so that whole thing is you can do anything, but not everything. So I'm a person that I'm like, I feel like I like the whole DIY thing, do it yourself, and I'll figure it out. And it's funny because just this last week is the first time, like, even taking apart a PC and installing a hard drive in it. And I was like, man, there's no way that I'm not capable of that stuff. But it's just, I have other people around me that are like, dude, it's doable. Just because if not, you're gonna have to have somebody else do it. And I'm like, I'm such a cheap person. I don't want to pay nobody to do anything. If I have, at my old house, I installed my own water heater because I'm like, do you know how much that's gonna cost? I'll install the water heater. So it's just like things like that. So when that whole saying, the whole quote by David Allen, you could do anything, but not, or you could do anything, but not everything. So you can do these things, but you have to have certain focus on what you're doing. So don't try and do it all at once. Focus on what you're doing. And so that's what I was doing last week. There was a real focus, and I'm still focusing on what I'm doing. But I feel like this is such a priority for me, this podcast. It's beyond just the podcast. On to the next is a bigger vision to me. And as I start rolling out some of the things of my vision, I'm going to share with you guys what I'm going to be doing with on to the next. So guys, I just want to kind of continue on with, how it looks for you guys. How does a focus on something in your life look for you? Sometimes it's, do I need to focus on sometimes it's been in my life where I've had to just take a deep breath, take everything out, focus on just being a father for my children. Sometimes it's been in my spiritual life. I've had to take everything aside, just get on my knees and pray because it's gone away in my life. I've had to solely focus on that because that's one of those things that, you could start focusing on everything else. Everything kind of starts going across the board and you forget about a lot of those things that are important in your life. For me, it's been, and guys, honesty, right? For me, it's been getting my butt back into the gym, back getting my feet on the pavement, doing some running. Luis Martinez, I hear you, man. I see you. And that's one of my guys who, even though he doesn't call me all the time and say, "Are you doing this?" I see him, and that's accountability to me. Seeing people do things, when people are posting online, I love when people do that. I actually do enjoy when people are like, out taking their runs, are out doing their things. And I don't look at it as like, man, look at this guy bragging about him exercising. I have a guy that I worked with actually in the transportation industry, Sean Martinez. The guy's always posting videos of him lifting in the gym and things. And man, I appreciate that. If Sean, you're listening, dude, those are things I look at and I'm like, man, I'm glad that dude's still hustling, still doing his workouts because it inspires me to like stop a moment. I need to get back into that gym and start focusing and working on that part of my life. So, guys, it's just and it comes with balance, guys. It so much comes with the balance in your life, and knowing how to focus on those things in your life. And guys, I don't have all the answers. These are just things that I've seen in my life where when I take things away in my life or when I start doing too many things in my life, that everything is a blur and you feel like then you get nothing done. And that's why that quote of saying you could do anything but not everything, because you start doing everything at once, everything becomes your I guess level of how do I want this to look successful wise. It The success of it is not going to be no longer up here. It's going to be, everything's going to be right in the middle. And I believe if we really are passionate about something, there has to be that strong focus. Another great quote, it's old Chinese proverb that says, "He who chases two rabbits catches neither." And, that is so true because, and that was the conflict of last week because we did record the episode and that was supposed to be episode 24. And I was like, oh my goodness, and it was like a moment of frustration that the audio just was not where I wanted it to be. And I'm like, well, I need to either record another episode, grab another person to record. But I'm like, man, I got so much to do on this other part of where I'm trying to accomplish in my work life. And I'm like, man, I felt like if I started chasing these two rabbits, nothing was going to be accomplished at the quality that I really wanted it to. So that's a big deal, guys. I think that when we really want to accomplish what we really set out to, having that laser focus. And another big thing is how the opinions that come from outside take away our focus. Sometimes people will discourage that focus and tell you, let's do this and not this, and want to take you away from that focus. Be careful of that, because if people really appreciated where you wanted to be in your life, they will appreciate you saying, no, I can't do this, or I'm going to be here and they're going to be your biggest cheerleader. The ones who don't want you to accomplish, they're the ones who are going to be telling you're never going to accomplish this, and they're the ones who are waiting right behind you saying I told you so. And so guys, think about those people that, you know, man, who was it? I just heard a recent quote saying that, oh, it's Tyler Perry who was saying that even with this family, I could love my family from afar and love them just the same, you know, but sometimes when you pull them in too close, certain people, they can't handle the focus that you have in your life. And guys, it is so important to know that sometimes those people still love you. Those people, they don't look down on you, but they just don't understand where your focus is. So guys, knowing, and I know I've probably said the word focus a million times so far, but it really hit me that last week when I was not able to do a podcast, but towards the middle of the week, I didn't really feel too bad because I'm like, man, I'm still accomplishing the goal that I was set out to do, you know, because part of this is of my other goal is still providing for my family. You know, I still have that goal in mind of just being that provider for my family. So guys, like I said, I thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. Episode 24, man, I can't believe I'm already to this point. And like I said, I feel like I'm just getting started because there's so many great people that I still have to interview for. There's a guy that I don't want to tell anybody yet, but this guy will be on my podcast. And this dude has had one of the biggest viral moments on Facebook to date. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to that guy. I'm not going to say his name yet because that's coming. And a lot of good people who I still have on, including my boy George Garcia, that like I said, I wish that podcast would have it would have sounded better because I would have had it on. So, man, so many great things to come with this. And I pray for you guys that the focus that you're seeking, that there's some clarity with you guys. And hopefully this encouraged you to take that next step for your focus, because it's only going to help you on to the next. You know, I always say that what is going to help you move on to your next. And for me this last week, it was keeping that focus. And I hope it's the same way for you guys. So guys, blessings to everyone. And I hope that the rest of this week is a blessing to you. And I hope that you're able to focus your way to your next. God bless, guys. Have a good one.